Welcome into Special Edition from the Star in Frisco in the Globe Life Studios. It is Week 11 of the NFL season, and the Dallas Cowboys getting set to take on the Minnesota Vikings up at U.S. Bank Stadium with a trio of former Cowboys: Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Glad you're with us. And the Cowboys fall to 6-3. We start with what happened in Green Bay up at Lambeau Field. It was the return of Mike McCarthy and the homecoming spoiled by Aaron Rodgers and company. A 31-28 loss in overtime, and the Cowboys allowing 207 yards on the ground. The second straight game in which they've allowed 200-plus yards rushing for an opponent. So, Isaiah, I'll start with you. You could point fingers at different areas for this Cowboys team and why this loss happened to a team in Green Bay that had been really struggling entering. What was the biggest reason for the loss in your mind?
They didn't step up. Let's just keep it simple. I mean, we could point out a lot of different things, and we'll hit on it going forward. But, you know, defensive line, step up. Second level, step up. Secondary, come be physical. Don't just sit back there and watch and expect everybody else to make plays. Everybody needs to play their role, take responsibility, and be the one to make the play.
Yeah, you heard it from yourself. I mean, look, everybody has to step up and take responsibility. It's not a finger-pointing contest out there. They have to understand that each player on that team wants to go out there. They want to win badly, but they have to play as a unit. There was too much hero ball on both sides of the football. They got to come together and play as a unit.
But I'm going to say this right here. It starts with the front four. Your defensive ends and your tackles. Y'all got to fill y'all gaps and give your linebackers a chance. Your corners got to be more physical. Your safeties got to be more physical. You just have to do your job.
DYJ, do your job. It's that old Bill Belichick narrative, and one of the guys up here played for Bill Belichick at one point down the line. I think it was Isaiah. But let's talk about the quarterback. Dak Prescott wasn't really Dak Prescott early on. He had some struggles early. Found a little bit of a rhythm in the second quarter, third quarter, but then shut down in the fourth quarter and into overtime to allow 17 unanswered for Green Bay. What went wrong for Dak Prescott in Green Bay?
I think he was in Green Bay playing like the Aaron Rodgers of their first half of the season. I mean, him and his receivers were not on the same page. He's still, struggling a little bit on the velocity and location. I just haven't seen Dak be himself lately, and they need to figure out a way for them all collectively to get on the same page.
Yeah, without a doubt. We all understand Dak has to play better out there. Both of those interceptions, they weren't all on him. He spoke about it earlier. There was miscommunication with the route concept. But what he can't do is compound the issue. If you see your guys are out there covered, don't throw into the interception right there. Dump it off to your back or simply throw the ball out of bounds. Live to play another down.
Simply this right here. Go to practice, do what you have to do, get in the film room, and get on point with your other guys.
What about the run defense, Nate? Because you talk about getting on the same page. That run defense has struggled in each of the last two matchups, and it doesn't get much easier with Minnesota on the way.
It doesn't, and it comes down, like I said, once again, to your guys up front. You have to know where you're at. You have to all be lined up and in one area knowing where you need to be. Don't get out leveraged this week, please.
Yeah, without a doubt, this run defense has got to be fixed ASAP. My old defensive coordinator, Rob Marinelli, used to tell us it's a want-to. It's a mentality, meaning there's not a scheme that he can call out there. There's not a game that can automatically shut down the run. It's about who wants it more. It's bone-on-bone, man-on-man football, and this Dallas Cowboys defense, they've got to become more physical.
Every single team that they have left on their schedule is a run-first team. Figure it out.
They've got Dalvin Cook and that Minnesota Vikings offense on the way coming up. But first, before we go into week number 11, we've got week 10 and a half. It's a little early Thanksgiving for the Dallas Cowboys and the Salvation Army. We'll tell you more about that when we come back on Special Edition.
Special Edition, presented by AT&T, is brought to you by Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas. Reliant, an NRG company. Blockchain.com, trusted by millions, trusted by America's team. And by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by Salvation Army. Love Beyond.
Back here on Special Edition, and of course the holidays right around the corner, but it's a little early for the Dallas Cowboys as the tradition of early Thanksgiving was underway here in Dallas-Fort Worth, and thanks to the Salvation Army and the Cowboys, got to serve a little extra food. Here's Haley Sutton with more.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, a phrase you'll hear in the coming week as families gather from far and wide for food and fellowship next Thursday.
On behalf
of the Dallas Cowboys and the Jones family, we want to wish you a very happy Thanksgiving.
And as is tradition for the Dallas Cowboys, the organization once again partnering with the Salvation Army of North Texas to help fight food insecurity, poverty, and homelessness this holiday season.
It does a lot for the players, too, to realize, listen, I'm contributing here. I'm helping somebody.
Happy Thanksgiving. You don't always understand the impact you may be having on people in the community, and have that interaction. It's special.
Yeah, I'm thankful just to be able to come and put a smile on their face and give them a shine of light in whatever their situation is.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thank y'all for coming out.
Appreciate you, Mr. Dad.
An unforgettable experience for those gathered at the table, and sharing a meal while their favorite players served with smiles meant so much to so many.
Thankful for them even coming, that they're able to take time out their day.
It feels pretty special. I've been watching them for over 50 years now.
I feel like it was great. We needed it. They needed it. And again, I think this is what it's all about, giving back.
Each week, the Salvation Army of North Texas feeds 10,000 people with their impact felt across the community. But the players say it's the impact on their own lives, which makes it special to continue coming out every year.
It's awesome, and that's what this is about, and that's why I encourage anyone that has the platform and ability to give back to make sure that you do that, because it's very rewarding for you as well.
You see, that's what makes the holidays so special. Wins and losses, they didn't matter on Tuesday. What mattered was the connections made and the lasting impact felt from everyone in the room.
Go! So awesome. One of the best traditions in all of the NFL is their, of course, involvement in the community and Thanksgiving, an early Thanksgiving, thanks to the Salvation Army and, of course, the Dallas Cowboys. When we come back, can the Cowboys find a way to slow down this Minnesota offense? Justin Jefferson and company are coming hot and heavy on the other side of the break. Here with more Special Edition.
This segment was brought to you by Salvation Army. Love Beyond. This segment is brought to you by Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas.
The Minnesota Vikings 8-1 entering Week 11. They're up at the top of the NFC standings, and of course they welcome in the Dallas Cowboys in Week 11 at US Bank Stadium. Back with Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton. Let's take a look at Kirk Cousins coming off of a 350-yard performance and a win on the road against the Buffalo Bills. Always tough to do. What has Kirk Cousins done well this season?
Just be vanilla. Just be vanilla. He doesn't need no sauce. He just needs to be just static. And then what he's doing is he's getting the ball in the hands of all of his receivers. This dude has a ton of weapons. He has Cook in the backfield. This dude has Adam Thielen. This dude has freaking Justin Jefferson. He has Hawkinson. All he has to do is run this West Coast style offense with just high precision passes underneath coverages, and all they want to do is work their way down the field.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think he's playing okay football right now. He's taking control of his options out there. He has 14 touchdowns, and he has his team in sole possession of first place of the NFC North. But to me, Kirk Cousins can still be rattled out there, and I think that's what this defensive line has got to do. They've got to rattle this man and talk him into throwing a couple interceptions. Last time I checked, the Cowboys still have the best pass rush in the National Football League. They need to get after Kirk Cousins.
They're going to have to get after him. Kirk Cousins has not had a ton of success against Cowboys throughout the entirety of his career, of course, going back to Washington and now in Minnesota. But he does have some weapons on the outside. Nate Newton, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, KJ Osborne, TJ Hawkinson. The list goes on and on. They have got some top-notch weapons. How does Dallas slow them down?
You don't. No, I'm just joking.
Okay.
Yeah, the way you slow them down is just play great defense. You make sure you be technique sound. We got a bunch of young guys out there, second-year guys out there, so we have to be technique sound, play the coverage that is presented before you, and keep these guys in front of you. So when they catch the ball, you tackle them.
Yeah, this secondary, they can shut down this receiving core because I seen them do it last year. You know, they held Justin Jefferson to 2 catches, 21 yards, no touchdowns last year. But to me, the X factor of this passing attack is going to be TJ Hawkinson out there. He had mild success against Dallas earlier in this season with Detroit. I think he had 4 catches for 48 yards. But since the trade in Minnesota, he's on a better offense with a better quarterback. So these safeties, these linebackers for Dallas, Dallas, they have to know where number 87 is because he can be a game changer.
And I mentioned how the list goes on and on. Let's add another one to that list. Dalvin Cook in the backfield for Minnesota. Isaiah, what does he do differently than some of the tailbacks that Dallas has seen already? Because Dallas has struggled to stop the run.
They definitely have struggled to stop the run, and he's no different. This guy is going to be coming downhill at you. He shows a lot of patience. These guys run a zone running scheme. He's able to sit back there, let his offensive linemen get their double teams, work up to the second level, and then he just pops out like a doggone pop rocket. So, I mean, you got to worry about him definitely, and they have a nice little two-headed monster. It's not just him.
I agree with you 100%. What's special about this guy is he's a notch above what we've faced at this point. We had Jones last week. Now you got a guy that's just a little bit better, a little bit quicker, and he went 81 last week. And don't believe me, if you're not in your gap, he will take it home.
And if you flip it to the defensive side of the football, Minnesota has weapons at all three levels of that unit as well. Barry, what do they do best?
I think they get after the passer well, but overall this defense doesn't really scare me. I think this offense can take advantage of it, but what they do well is they're great on third down. Right now this defense is 9th in the National Football League, only allowing 36% of the time a first down on third down. We know that's exactly where this Dallas Cowboys offense seems to struggle. They're 25th in the National Football League. Kyle, this is definitely a matchup where you want to keep your eyes on.
These guys are very patient and they're very physical. I think that's the identity of their team. They're going to sit back there in their cover three coverage, let you have anything in front of you, and not allow for any yak yardage. They're not trying to give up the big play, and they want to punish you so that at the end of the game you start taking risks that you wouldn't have taken in the first three quarters.
And that Dallas defense is going to have to take some risks against Dalvin Cook and company as well. Both defenses are going to have to try and stop the run because both teams can tote the rock especially well, and Isaiah is going to outline that. When we come back here with more Special Edition, we go to the film room. How can Micah Parsons and that defense take a step up from what we saw in Green Bay?
This segment was brought to you by Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas.
Then having a bye week and then coming back out and losing to Green Bay, how we lost to them, letting them run the ball up and down the field on us. You know, you should be angry. You should be frustrated. You know, if you're not, then I think we got the wrong guys on this defense. If, you know, you're walking around here like everything is fine, knowing how things went for us last year against San Fran, being a big reason on why we didn't advance in the postseason last year. You know, if you're not frustrated, then we got the wrong guys on this defense. If you're not mad, we got the wrong guys on this defense.
Safety Jaron Kearse knows exactly what this Dallas defense has in store this week following 207 yards allowed on the ground against Green Bay in Week 10, and they've got another tough task with the Minnesota Vikings this week, a team that has Dalvin Cook, a team that has Madison in the backfield. They've got plenty of weapons on their offensive end as well. Isaiah Stanback, former Cowboy, about to break it down for you in the film room back here on Special Edition. We've got to start by what went wrong for this Cowboys team. What exactly went wrong, and how were they so susceptible to the run against Green Bay?
Well, it's not just one thing, Kyle. Well, a lot of guys are trying to point the finger and trying to figure out exactly what's going on with this defense right now, but it's a number of areas, and we're going to address all of them right now. Matter of fact, there's 3 of them. Let's take a peek at it. Right off the back, okay, I'm going to draw a line right down the middle of the center, okay, right down the middle of the center. All right, what's going on right now is we're getting out-leveraged. We're doing too much to one side. So right here, I want you guys to count how many linemen you have. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's 4 guys over there. All right, but let's look at how many defensive guys we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why are we so heavy on that side? Now, as you look to the other side, they have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this side. Okay, that's interesting. But over here, they have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not enough, Kyle. It's 6 on 4. So what you end up happening is you're playing to the tight end, okay? Right here's the tight end side. They usually call the strength over there. So everybody loads up towards their tight end side. But what teams are starting to do now is they're starting to run a little motion, okay? They're motioning the guys over, then they're coming back and they're gaining the leverage with this advantage here. Let's see it play out. Boom, they're going like they're going to the strength side, but they're not going to the strength side. Everybody bumps over and goes heavy to the left, and then everybody's coming to the right. Boom, play it out. Bam, we have down, pause it right there for me, okay? Boom, we have down block right here, down block right here. And then we have a tight end that's leading you out to the edge, and now he's working his way up here to the cornerback. It's not good setup for the Cowboys defense. It's going to allow for these guys to get yardage every single time. Micah Parsons is a beast, but he can't stop a 300-pound man coming at him.
So that's one area, the leverage, out-leverage for a scheme standpoint. What's the second area?
The second one is going to be just straight alignment and assignment, okay? Right here, these guys are talking about making sure that you have outside containment. You see Micah Parsons is sitting waiting on the outside of the tackle. That's awesome. But what you're not seeing is that these guys are now looking at him like a piece of meat, okay? We have guys that are coming down here and going to do what we call blocking MDM. They're either going to take this man right here, or they're going to take the other man that comes. This receiver right here is going to come down and block down. This tackle is going to kick out Micah Parsons. They'll allow him to have that containment all day long. And what you're going to find yourself doing is finding a guy that is solely on him, and that's going to be this tight end who's going to come up and block him man-to-man. Go ahead and play it out. You see the receiver coming in motion. I called him a tight end. Receiver coming in motion. Boom, the toss. Pause it right there. Here goes that down, and around. We just talked about how this lineman is going to come up here and try to seal it. He's going to take MDM. Doesn't matter which man. He's cracking down on this cornerback. And what do we say about him? He has to be able to react. When he does react and he decides to come downhill, there's a man that's leading up, waiting to block him man-to-man, giving Jones at this point in time the entire sideline. Again, it's a numbers game. It's a bad situation for the Dallas Cowboys in this particular instance. Aaron Jones had a heck of a day.
They're going to have to keep that against guys like Aaron Jones throughout the rest of the schedule. Next up on that schedule is Dalvin Cook. How do they slow him down, or how are they going to struggle to slow him down?
Yeah, well, here you go right here, okay? We need our cornerbacks to come up and make plays, and right now they're just not doing it. You see here the double team. All right, you're going to see the guys kick out right here. We just talked about that leverage. Once this double team happens, he's going to work up to Micah Parsons, and then there's going to be a huge void right here. Well, who's responsible for that void? I wonder who. They're going to let this guy, this running back, come up here and hit this hole. There is a cornerback by the name of Trayvon Diggs on this particular play that has the opportunity to come up here and make a play. He decides not to. Boom, here goes the kick out block. This man right here has to fill this gap. He can't sit up here and watch. I don't care if it's Trayvon. I don't care if it's Kyle Yeomans. You got to come up here and make this hit. He decides not to. He's hesitant. He's waiting. And now all of a sudden you have a running back that's 10 yards down the field. That's not how you defend it, but the next play I'm going to show you is how you defend it. Boom, let's go straight over to the next one. The Buffalo Bills, okay, going against the Minnesota Vikings. This is the man that you have to be concerned about right here, Dalvin Cook. That's who we're looking at. But I want you guys to pay attention to this guy right here, their safety. Let's look at the last play. Like Trayvon just hesitated. Look at how fast he reacts to the run play. Ball is snapped. Immediately, he is shooting downhill. He has inside help, so he's taking the outside containment. I want you to look at how this guy comes down and spears the knee of Dalvin Cook, stopping the play right at the line of scrimmage. When you have that run force from the outside, it makes all the difference in the world. Teams won't try you like they've been doing.
Trayvon didn't shoot that gap. Buffalo still shot their gap. Dalvin Cook still had 100-plus yards against the Buffalo Bills, including an 81-yard touchdown run last week as well. It is dangerous, but you got to stay assignment and alignment steady all the way through. Isaiah, stand back on the film room. When we come back on Special Edition, we give our keys to the game. One of them is stopping the run. Another one might be getting Dak Prescott up and rolling on the road in Minnesota.
Special Edition, presented by AT&T, was brought to you by Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. And by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back every game is a big game, but obviously this game is against a team here that has only lost one game and could potentially start to divide where people end up on the same team. How do you see this?
Yes, exactly right. This is a playoff game. I mean, you got a team that's, one loss, right? Yeah, and then us coming off of one. We know what this means. Right? We know what this means in the division. We know what this means in the NFC. So it's about going up there, putting our best foot forward, and making sure that we put our best performance out there and just show the team that we are in all aspects of our game. Yeah, I mean, the thing about these guys in this locker room, this culture is you know what you're going to get. And everybody was pissed off after that game. And obviously they're pissed off for a day or two. But you can't sit there and soak in that. You got to obviously turn the page and make sure we learn from it. And that's what we've done. And then now we just come out with a great attitude in these last couple of days and preparing. And we still got a couple more days to go to make sure the preparation's right for this one.
Wrapping up Special Edition from the Star in Frisco as Week 11 is right around the corner. The Cowboys and the Minnesota Vikings on CBS 3:25 kickoff Central Time. Isaiah, Barry, Nate, Kyle Yeomans. Let's give our keys to the game. How do the Cowboys get win number 7?
Play relentless football.
Stop the run. Kirk Cousins is 2-8 against you all time. Force him to beat you.
Stay in your gap.
Okay, we've got 40 seconds left in the show. I knew we were supposed to be quick, but really? Relentless football. Nate, what's your prediction going into week number 11?
Oh, man, this is going to be a tight one, man. We'll get this by one. Come on.
Cowboys by one.
Brett Maher, we need you, babe.
we got a kicker mention in the back end of the show. How about that? Got it done. For Isaiah Stanback, for Barry Church, for Nate Newton, again, kickoff at 3:25. Week number 11 for the Dallas Cowboys. See if they can turn things around against the NFC North foe, the Minnesota Vikings. It would certainly help out in the NFC East race. We'll be back with more Special Edition next week.